Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Dr. Glenn Vo, and I'm super excited to finally have this guy. I mean, you guys, if you're on social media, you know who he is. He's one of the main guys in the real estate group for dentists. It's Dr. Roshan. What's up, man? I almost wanted to say Roshan. We were just joking around about that sometimes people, it's Roshan, but sometimes people want to just add a little accent and Roshan. But hey, if someone calls you Roshan, you'll say what's up, right?
Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you this. Do you
blocked
ever,
from my life forever.
let me ask you this. Do you ever stop people say it's actually Roshan?
Not really. No.
Yeah.
Just kind of deal with it.
But now you know, guys. So here's the thing. I want to just dive right into it. I mean, you have so many amazing posts. You're really big in real estate, and I want to say this that I meet a lot of people, but you are like so giving, so abundance minded. You're always answering people's questions. You're always sharing things about your real estate, and let me just ask you about that. Like, why is that so important for you to kind of give freely like that?
I see no negativity from it, right?
Yeah.
Like I think that I don't view anyone, and especially any dentist in real estate, as my competition. So first of all, of course you think financially. There's no financial competition there for giving out information.
Yeah.
And just on top of that, I enjoy helping people.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of help over the years, and so I definitely want to feel like I want to pass that forward and help someone else get to wherever they want to get to.
I love it. So obviously we're going to talk about what's up next for him and all his real estate deals, but every journey there's a beginning, right? So talk about like where you practice, what kind of patients you see, and then just kind of lead up to why did you want to get into real estate?
Yeah. So I graduated in 2017 from Nova Southeastern in Fort Lauderdale, and I went from Florida to Oklahoma City, opened up a scratch start practice. It's doing really well. It's a franchise. It's called Comfort Dental. And it's doing really well. I see pretty much low to mid income people. So we have busy schedules. We do good dentistry efficiently. We don't tend to do tons of really crazy stuff. Like I don't do all on fours, although I do lots of overdentures. Don't do all on fours, all on sixes, those kinds of things. I do place a lot of implants, but I'm not doing like serious cases of that. I'm just doing more bread and butter dentistry. Get them in, get them out of discomfort, and make them happy, have a good day, and have a good paycheck for us too.
So you're practicing in Oklahoma City, outside of Oklahoma City, taking care, doing a lot of bread and butter dentistry, and then at some point you were like, okay, I'm gonna get into real estate, and because we see all the deals, we see all the amazing stuff you're seeing right now, but no one ever starts like, hey, I'm doing all this. They start really small and make some mistakes and stuff like that. So what was the motivation behind that? Was that something that you always had in you? Like, well, I want to get into real estate because I want to get another income stream. Did you kind of fall into it? Tell us like the story behind that.
So I don't know if you'll believe this or not, but in my heart, I'm like extremely lazy. And I figured out that...
I don't believe it.
Well, I am. I really am. And my wife, Michelle, will attest to that. But I figured out that if I worked extremely hard my first 10 years and got a ton of real estate, I would be able to achieve financial freedom. I would be able to replace my dental income, and then it would be doing dentistry just because I wanted to, not because I had to, and potentially walking away from dentistry if I wanted to, which actually now is my current goal, is to walk away from dentistry and just do real estate. And I figured out that, no other vehicle of investing, whether it's stocks or, any other,
Crypto
could have worked if I did it, early enough, but you can't ever predict that, right? Yeah. But no other vehicle could safely and predictably allow me to replace my dental income in about 10 years, except for real estate. So about 6 months before I graduated, I decided, you know what, my goal is 10 years after graduation.
Wait, hold up. You decided this while you were still in dental school?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's amazing because I think most of us were like, dude, I'm just trying to find a board patient. I'm just trying to find my boards.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to survive and stuff. But I love that you had that foresight. So in
my third year, I had decided that I wanted to, I verbally committed to open up a brand new practice in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Hadn't finalized the contract or anything like that, but I verbally committed. And then my fourth year, I started once that started getting well underway, boards had already happened. I started really reading a ton of books. Probably between that year of 2017, I had 5 months of school and 7 months out of school. I probably read around 50 books and
50 real estate books.
50 just total financial books.
Wow.
Yeah, and I came across
like read or some Audible too.
I'm not really that great on Audible. I love Audibles for like motivation, but then if I don't read it, I don't retain it.
It's almost like, I like to say, it's almost like fake reading.
Yeah, it is.
Right? Like
yeah.
you're it's kind of like, hey, I'm actually gonna study, but I'm watching football at the
Yeah,
same time.
yeah.
You're not really studying,
Yeah.
man. You're just saying you do it. But
Exactly.
again, there's a time place. So you read 50 bucks.
And I came up with the idea that, real estate is the way to safely and predictably allow me to scale and replace my income. It was basically just work backwards, right? At the time I was like, all right, if I make 20 grand a month, I'm going to be okay, right? I'm going to have essentially replaced my dental income. Now I make a little bit more than that, but at that time I was thinking 20 grand is what I'll probably end up making as an owner doc. That's about average. And so if I can replace that, then I will be able to walk away from dentistry. So then I figured out, okay, each house makes $200 a month in profit, after your expenses, after earmarking some money for vacancy and repairs and things like that. So then I needed to work backwards. So $20,000 divided by 200 and you'll get 100 homes. So I decided, all right, I need to buy 100 homes. And I had 10 years to do it, so I was like, buy 10 homes a year.
Wow, I absolutely love that. Okay, so let's fast forward a little bit. So you made the move from Florida to Oklahoma, and that's a whole nother podcast, guys. What is he doing in Oklahoma? At all places, Oklahoma City. Come on.
Okay, so I got really lucky with it, but I'll tell you just very briefly.
Yeah.
I did it because every Comfort Dental has 2 doctors.
Yeah.
And so I was joining up with someone I consider a mentor and a close friend. And he could have been in Alaska. He could have been in Nebraska.
So it's not so much you had an affinity of just going to Oklahoma. It was more of like the opportunity. The opportunity could have been in Alaska.
It could have been, yeah. And I would have been there. It could have been California, and I would have been there. I'm just so incredibly grateful and fortunate that it was Oklahoma City, because Oklahoma City has this amazing real estate market. It's incredibly affordable compared to the rest of the country. And it has the kind of the benefits of being affordable like a small town, but also having the population of a bigger town. And so I just got very lucky that the practice is doing well and real estate is doing extremely well. And that's where I was. And so I invest solely in Oklahoma City as of now, but now I'm starting to move out.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, there's an airport in Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You can always leave.
Yep.
Right. So that's the thing. I think that's a big issue that so many younger docs have. They're like, well, I don't want to live there. Is there an airport there?
Yep.
Right? Or do you want to go somewhere that's super saturated, that there's not that many opportunities, and you can just grind it out, right? You can grind it out, or you can go to a great situation like kind of what you did. And literally, I kid you not, I asked this guy, hey, what are you doing this weekend, whatever? And he's like, I'm not even in town. This dude's literally traveling everywhere. Again, hey, that's a whole nother podcast.
Hey, traveling for free, too.
There you go. That's a whole
Credit
other
card hacks.
That's a whole other podcast we can have. And again, for you young docs out there who's thinking like, I need to live in an XYZ place, you really don't. As long as they have an airport, you can go travel. Like this dude literally travels everywhere, different all the time. But with that being said, let's kind of backtrack back to the whole real estate journey. So fast forward, you're working at Comfort Dental, you're pulling in more money that you ever had before. Most of us, when we get our first associate job and our first practice. What did you start doing as far as like investing? Did you like get money from other investors? Was it all out of your pocket? Did you call your dad up and say, hey, I got this great idea? Talk about that. Talk about the beginning grind.
Sure.
So, talk about that.
So a lot of people hold this against me, but I would say that it's not really something to think of it that way. But I had a property that I bought with loan money. My loan money is not publicly held. It is not held by the government. It's held privately. So I bought a property with my loan money in 2013. I graduated in 2017. I rented it out for a little bit. And I sold it in 2018. I had about $100,000, and I decided instead of paying down the $400,000 of loans, I would use that to invest. So my very first deal was funded by essentially a live-in flip of a condo that I had in Fort Lauderdale. Then after that, the first purchase was actually 8 houses, and so I used that entire $100,000.
Wait! Hold on. So first of all, okay, see, you're okay. So beyond that live and flip, because the live and flip, obviously he was living there. Your first investment, you said 8 houses.
Yeah.
Okay, can you just can you just explain to everyone that that's probably not a normal thing?
No,
Okay.
it's definitely not a normal thing.
Okay, just to let you guys
and
know,
I wasn't looking to buy 8 houses either. I was looking to buy 1 house. It just so happened that I found a portfolio of houses that was being sold by a guy. He was Iranian, and he was leaving Oklahoma City, selling all his houses as his retirement fund, and moving back to Iran to retire. And crazy story, I found him off of Craigslist. It was like, it's like all sorts of sketchiness, but it all worked out. Those houses are incredible earners today. I still have 6 of them. And so I wasn't looking to buy a big portfolio of properties. I was looking to just buy one, like put a $20,000 down payment, do it 5 times. I just so happened to stumble across a 8 property portfolio. So definitely not normal.
I just want to make sure I lay that out there
Yeah.
because someone who's watching it right now, they're just their hopes just drop.
Yeah, okay.
When they're like, "What? 8 houses? I can't do 8 houses."
Yeah.
But I just want to let everyone know that is not the norm.
Right.
Right. It just happened to be a good situation. So.
But there's more to it that you can do, because I said in just a few minutes ago that people hold that against me. Well, immediately after that, I had exhausted my 100,000, and within the next year, I'd got up to 20 houses. So still, I was buying a ton without having the funds to really do it. So what I did was my next set of houses was a duplex, and it became my next live-in flip. So I found a bank, even though I had no tax returns, only been working at my office for 6 months. They would fund my personal house on 10% down. And so I used money from the dental office that I was making to buy that. And I still live in that house today. I bought it for $150. It refinanced at $330 just a few months ago.
Wow.
So and I have, it's a duplex. So I live in one side and rent out the other side. My current payment on it now that I've refinanced is like $1,650, something like that. And my other side rents for $1,400. So after property management, I'm paying like $300, $400 a month to live in this $330,000 house.
Wow.
And because of the tax laws and everything like that, I'm actually making money when you include the tax deductions.
Wow. Okay. So again, if you guys are wondering, like, that's a lot to digest. First of all, I want to let you know there's a real estate investing for dentists. There's a Facebook group. There's a lot of great information in there. He makes a lot of amazing posts in there. But what's really cool is that what I love about the community, and I run a Facebook group myself. You guys know that. I'm other Facebook groups as well. What I love about it is that everyone kind of pitches in and kind of helps things out. And speaking of community, one of the communities that you kind of like inspired me to join and read about and whatnot is Bigger Pockets. So talk about like the Bigger Pockets community. How I want to know how it helped you. And how you used it, because I think a lot of times people are like, okay, join Bigger Pockets. Okay, what do I do? Do I just like troll around? What do I do? Do I lurk around? What do I do? Talk about how you used it so that maybe people kind of be inspired, maybe take the same road.
I love that you're bringing that up, because I didn't have the knowledge, until I started investing and until I started reading those books. And 2 of the books by Brandon Turner, how to invest in real estate and how to manage rental properties.
I'm reading that right now. It's from this guy.
Yeah,
I'm reading it and listening. I tried listening to it, and just like what we were just talking about, it was kind of like fake reading. So now I'm actually reading it from this guy. So anyways, keep going.
It's fantastic. So those books, like, they're the best beginner books, I think. I still actually sometimes refer back to them because it has a really great outline of how everything works out. Right, it's written incredibly like newbie friendly. It's not super technical. It's just, hey, this is how this works. This is how this works, and step by step. So I used Bigger Pockets to get into the books. I used Bigger Pockets on the forums to kind of start learning how people talk, how people think, and kind of grow my mindset. I don't do the forums so much anymore, but I still use the Bigger Pockets calculator. Yeah. So I pay, I think it's like $300, $400 for a pro membership. You get to use the calculator as many times as you want. You can generate PDF reports. I think it's really great to, especially if you start and bring partners on, to show, hey, this is the property, this is my expectation of rent, my, the analysis that I've done. I've done the legwork here. So I use that. I actually used the calculator over 1,000 times.
Wow.
And one time I got a notification on the website, you're like, super grandmaster, and I was like, oh, what does that mean? And I looked it up. It's like, I used the calculator 1,000 times. So all right, thanks.
You definitely got your money's worth.
Yes. And after that, the initial 8 houses, the 2 duplex, the live and flip, which I still live in, so I haven't flipped it yet, just living for free, really, the house hacking. I used those calculators to buy the next 10 deals the next year. And every time I had a great month in the office, I made 20 grand or whatever, I would have to pay my taxes, pay my practice note. And then let's say I had 12 grand left over. I'd take that 12 grand and use it as a down payment to the next house.
Wow.
Which would be like a $50,000 or $60,000 house. Of course, even in Oklahoma City, you don't find $50,000 to $60,000 houses anymore. But back in 2018, you could.
Yeah.
And I say this to everyone because a lot of people live in places like California or Texas or New York or Florida where prices are super expensive. Just use multiples of the numbers, right? So if it's 60,000 and you live in an area where you can't find anything for under 300,000, well, use a multiple of that number, use a multiple of the rent. And so it's still the same principle, it's just a higher number, right? You may have to only take, instead of me doing one house a month, you may take 5 months and buy a house that's worth 5 times more than my house. So you still have the exact same opportunity. You just have to add digits to your price.
I'm glad you brought that up, and I think that it's really important for people to hear this. Is that you had your own path, right? You had that deal. You had your own kind of like journey. Everyone has their own journey. And I think a lot of times, especially with dentists, we're kind of like looking over our shoulder and looking over the next guy, and you're like, darn it, like I can't find the deals that he has, or I'm not in the same situation. I think it's really important to realize that everyone has their own journey. As long as you follow the right principles and just do your due diligence and put your own efforts in, you're going to get where you want to go. It's not supposed to be compared to everybody else. And I think that's super important to hear because people may be seeing you and they're like, oh my gosh, this guy's like, he's got deals left and right. And like, oh man, like I can't even get that deal. And you get frustrated. You don't want to even start. I think it's safe to say that if you really want to get into this, put the time in and actually just do it.
It just comes down to action, right? I know like Grant Cardone talks about massive action. And I think that's a huge thing for me personally is I believe that anyone in any city can make real estate work for them because there's someone else doing it. And we're dentists. We've went through all this dental school. We've gone through, if there's any doctors listening, you've went through medical school. We are highly educated. And so if we're highly educated and we can't do it, why is someone else who maybe not as highly educated able to accomplish that? Yeah. And so if they can do it, so can I. And that's kind of how I see it. There's people making real estate no matter what city you're in. And if someone in your city can do it, there's no reason you can't either.
I love it. Okay, so the natural question I'm sure that you get all the time. You got it from me, you got it from everybody, right? Is okay, I want to make this my thing. I want to put in the effort. I want to put in the work, and I want to actually take action and do this. For those who are asking that question, what's the first steps?
Those 2 books that we had mentioned by Brandon Turner, they're published by Bigger Pockets. Those are just your foundational books. Read those, internalize them, read it again, internalize them more, and read it again, right? Like, really understand that book forwards and backwards, in my opinion, and then don't just sit on that knowledge. I have a ton of people that ask me for help, and usually they fall into one of 2 categories. One, they are not willing to do the work to acquire the results. They're not willing to put in the effort to read the book, like you said, or they read the Audible and only retain maybe 20% of it. You really ought to try to retain like all of it, or at least the majority of it, right? And then 2, the people who read and disseminate and understand the knowledge and they're like the perfect student because they can spit that knowledge and theory right back at you, but have yet to do their first deal.
Yeah.
And so really, most people fall into those 2 categories, whether they're not willing to do the work or they are willing to do the work, but they never pull the trigger. And so read the books, understand them, and then pull the trigger.
And do it. I love it. We've had other people on in the real estate area, and all the advice is always the same, right? Do the work, right? You went through dental school. You had to do the work. You couldn't shortcut. You probably could have shortcut your way through high school. You probably could have shortcut an old test. I call it old test your way through undergrad. Mm-hmm. But at some point, you can't do that in dental school, right? You got so many things you have to do. And of course, like you got to put the work in. And of course, the action. We got so many people, especially in dentistry, there's so much like paralysis by analysis that they don't do anything there. And they spend all this money going to all these events and whatnot. Hey, take that advice there. Okay, so, before we log off here, I need to ask you this, man. What makes you excited? What are you excited about the future when it comes to not only real estate, but also what you're doing in the dental field where you're mentoring people, helping people out like myself, use real estate as a tool to get to financial freedom. What are some of the things that you're excited about?
So I've gotten to the point where I have myself about a $5 million portfolio, and total assets between me and my partner just in real estate that I manage is about $6.5 million. So I consider
How many houses is that?
it's 51 rental units.
Okay, so we got 50 more, right? That's your goal, right? You said 100,
well,
right?
Well, now I brought a partner in, so it's not necessarily the same way, right? That was 100 on my own, and so it will need more, but we're going a little different path now.
Okay.
I've gotten to the point where I know that as long as I just keep paying down these notes, my retirement is secure. I'm good. I'm okay. I don't never have to worry about it. Now that I know my retirement is good, let's move that retirement age up to 32 to 35. I'm 30 right now, so 2 to 5 years. Move that retirement age up, and then I've gotten to that point, and now I'm starting to work on my generations below me. Yeah. I want 3-4 generations of Kalra to be taken care of should they choose, and that's a whole thing that I'm trying to balance out is how do you take care of your future generations without spoiling them and having them squander the inheritance of fortune.
That's what our parents used to worry about us, right? So again, like, hey, that's a whole nother thing.
Exactly.
That's a whole other problem to have, but it's a good problem.
That's my personal goals. Now, in terms of like helping people out, absolutely. I'm getting to the point where I'm going to retire from clinical dentistry, and I'm going to be basically a spokesperson for, I believe that any dentist or high income professional can replace their income in 10 years or less. If you can replace your income, you can design the ideal practice of your dreams because you don't require that money to live off of. So you can have a practice that breaks even and just be happy with that. Although if it's the ideal practice of your dreams, it's probably not going to just break even. It's going to do better and better and better. But you can design that, or you can walk away. So I want to show people that you can do that. Then I'm excited to just share this knowledge and be like, hey, I did this. This is how I did it. You can too now.
Well, just to let you guys know, by the time you watch this episode, this event had already gone over. But the reason why he's here today is because he's actually in town. Roshan's in town for like the first real estate for dentists event. It's sold out. I'm going to be there. I'm super excited. So again, at the very least, you guys can do a connection there at that event. But this event is sold out. That's so crazy. Yeah. But it's so exciting because there's so much opportunity there, and you guys are already thinking about the next one next year. So for the people who missed out, what do you know so far about the next one? I mean, do we have a date yet?
We do have a date.
Okay.
We do have a date. We have actual dates, but it's gonna be September of next year. However, tickets are first gonna be sold to attendees of this event, and then as time goes on, we'll start releasing tickets to the general public. But if you weren't able to get to this real estate investment for Dentist Summit, then next year we'll be hosting another one in September. And
well, they'll definitely have to have a bigger room for sure, and we'll do that.
It's actually going to be Labor Day. I'll let you know.
Okay, so there we go.
It's going to be Labor Day next year.
Well, Roshan, thank you so much for being here, making the time, guys. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll have in the show notes. I'm going to tag them in the post. We'll have in the show notes about the next event, and who knows? There's a lot of things I've been in his ear telling him about. He needs to have like some kind of coaching program or whatnot. We'll see. I'll keep on bugging him. but if I hear something, you guys will be the first to know. So thank you so much for jumping on.
Thanks for having me.
Guys, we'll see you next time.
Take care.